It's a bitterly cold and snowy night in Aliquippa. Usually the cold weather keeps crime at bay, but not on this night in January 2010. Tonight, shots ring out through the quiet air. Moments later, two men on their way to work spot something lying here on Main Street. They stop to give a closer look and realize they haven't spotted a something, but a someone. It's 22-year-old James Little Jr., who goes by the nickname Lizard. He has been shot. With no one around, the police have little to go on, except little connection with another man who was killed several months earlier, Will Moten. Who killed James Little? Was it the same person or people who also killed Moten? I'm LeVar McBride, and this is Cold Case, Beaver County.
911, what is your emergency?
You got three people of interest still, say, I do. Three people of interest, then you got that blank face.
Now that's why nobody really knows if she is dead or alive.
He was set free and he was set free to go kill.
We've never gotten that one break. We've never gotten that one break. You know, we will though.
I was working midnight that night. We got reports of shots being fired in the Main Street, the 1000 block of Main Street, that area.
Shortly after that, a 911 call reporting the shooting is made by the men who found Little.
It's one of those homicides that sticks in your mind because it was in the middle of winter, and just on a city street, individual is just laying there, shot multiple times, and there's no one around. He was just left there just to die.
On January 9th, 2010, the night of Mr. Little's death, he was attempting to get into this particular residence here, 1010 Main Street. There was a social gathering going on, but he was denied. At the time he was denied, and we subsequently learned, obviously everybody has cell phones, so he was on the cell phone and he was talking to a young lady on the cell phone. And as he talked to the young lady on the cell phone, he began to drift down into this area. It was cold, it was snowing, it was very dark, it was minutes after 3 a.m. in the morning. As he mingled around in this area, someone in a vehicle come by and fired several shots, 3 of them hitting him, and he fell right in the intersection here on that particular morning, early morning hours. His body laid here. There was very minimal evidence around other than the 9mm casings that was located in the immediate area. The crime scene was established right here. Neighbors come out, placed a blanket over top of him, and we began to process the crime scene at that moment, canvassing the neighborhood to see if anyone had heard or seen anything at that time.
Police believe the vehicle that drove past Little, possibly a brown SUV, turned around because the people inside recognized him, and at least one person inside the car got out and fired shots.
We pretty much have information on who was in the car and who possibly did the shooting. But at this point, we're just that one piece still missing that we need to solidify the case enough to where we believe it's a good solid case that we can take to court.
Investigators think the shooting had to do with an ongoing battle between groups of men from the Linn-Mar Terrace and Griffith Heights housing plans. Little's friend, Will Moten, had been gunned down just months earlier in Aliquippa's Plan 11 Extension neighborhood.
We knew that Griffith Heights had a feud going with those who lived in the Linn-Mar area at the time. And so that was one of the theories we were looking at, who from the Linn-Mar area who had the adversarial relationship that could have been responsible for the death. And so when we looked at the Littles' death, we kind of associated that with the Will Moulton death, because Will Moulton and victim Littles were friends, and they were all associated with their associates from Griffin Heights at the time. We were primarily looking at suspects from the Linn-Mar area at that time.
Police suspect that the same people responsible for killing Little were also responsible for Moulton's death. And much like it was when they investigated Moulton's death, police found people were unwilling to talk.
The names are always the same. It's just no one has ever come forward to say, hey, I have concrete information that this individual was responsible for this particular decedent's death.
I do know the Little family, and they are extremely distraught over what occurred, and some lack of participation from some witnesses and some individuals. They're still having a tough time dealing with this homicide.
As it would with anyone who has suffered the loss of a child, it has been stressful for that family. Stressful for the community as well, because no society and no community and no neighborhood wants to know that murderers are still at large and responsible for deaths, and that the particular death cannot be solved. And so in this particular family, as any mother and father would, they love their child, and they continue to press for a resolution in the case. And we continue to press for a resolution in this case. That is why the books have never been closed on this particular case.
No one deserved to die in that manner. No one deserved to die, period. And Mr. Little death does need to be answered for.